got to look good in shorts and a t-shirt. I'm not going to look the prettiest out there. You get into the fire, the bullets start going is kind of where I kind of think I play my best.
What is an NFL quarterback room like?
So 2 years ago, I trained Sam Darnold and Josh Allen and Kyle Allen. That was my draft class.
I think that this league is filled with opportunities, and the guys that stay in the league for a long time are the guys that take advantage of those opportunities.
I'm just a big believer in repetition.
And I'm a big routine guy, and goals never end.
I'm just a big.
And I'm a big routine guy, and goals. Once I stepped on that field today, I was good, man.
Welcome to the room. This is episode 19. Got a great guest, very timely for this guest as the college football playoff approaches and really college football season ends too. But if you're just tuning in for the first time, this is the room. My name is Jordan Palmer. Played in the league for a while as a backup quarterback, training a lot of guys for the last probably decade or two. A lot of guys playing on Sundays and Saturdays. Kyle Allen, current quarterback for the Houston Texans, 5-year NFL vet. We've spent a lot of time together as buddies and also as a coach player situation too. And now we are co-hosts together on this concept, trying to bring we think is the most relevant room in any building in all of sports, the quarterback room, to you. So we got a different guest on every single week. We got topics, things to talk about, but we're not doing a ton of what do you think about the score of that one game over there. Like everybody else is doing, we're looking at this a little different. So, Kyle, how we feeling, man? Season's almost kind of approaching here at the end.
Season one of the room is almost approaching the end too. And I think, what we set out to do is we set out to bring everybody into the quarterback room, the most important room in any building in all of sports. And I think if you've listened to the episodes already, if you haven't, go back and listen to some of the old episodes. But if you've been along for our journey so far and you've listened to the episodes, you realize like the quarterback room is the most interesting room in any sport. We've had awesome conversations with all our guests. We have different from Ryan Fitzpatrick to Kirk Cousins to Josh Allen to Cade McNamara. Now today with our guest Max Duggan of TCU in the college football playoff, just declared for the draft coming out next year. I think he's going to be training with you, Jordan. And then
off of a runner-up for the Heisman.
Off a runner-up for a Heisman after being benched at the beginning of the year. We'll get into all that in the interview, but like I said, if you haven't listened to any of our episodes from before, go back and listen. They're awesome. Season 1's coming up to an end. Season 2, we will be renewing after the NFL playoffs this year. We're really excited. Season 2 is going to bring a lot more cool stuff, so stick around for that. But right now, we're going to get into episode 19. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. Got all the content coming out here. But as always, we're going to start off our show with Throw It Deep or Check It Down. Throw it deep or check it down. If you like the take, we're going to throw it deep. If we don't like the tape, we're going to check it down. So today we just got one. We just finished recording our interview with Max, so we're going to get into that right after this. But we got a good one to start off with right here. So college football landscape. Talked a lot about the college football landscape over the past,
Shifting.
Crazy. We talk a ton about this in the quarterback room and the Texans. We talk like all the time.
Really?
I mean, it's
well,
crazy.
You mentioned this like 13 episodes ago, though. But like when you say the quarterback room of the Texans, 3 5-star quarterbacks in that room. Okay?
3 5-star quarterbacks.
For context. Okay, so what are you guys talking about?
Pep Hamilton, who had coached in college football forever, coached at Michigan under Harbaugh, coached at Stanford, so a lot of different perspectives. But the college football landscape is like it's never been before. So the take right here is commitments don't mean as much as they used to in college football recruiting. Throw it deep or check it down. I'm
throwing it deep. They don't mean anything. It's like it used to. So it's never really meant anything, right? Like put it in writing, or let's let the ink dry, or insert all these different cliches right there. But like nothing's finalized until the contract is signed. That's not a new concept here. That's business. That's legislature. That's everything, right? That's marriage. That's divorce. That's everything, right? Birth certificate. I said a kid the other day, right? Like so everything's got to be like we need a contract. We need to sign it, right? And people think like, oh, I signed with this school. This kid's going to Oregon. I'm making up that school name. But really what you're doing is you're signing a contract with that school that you're going to give them all these things and you're going to provide these things and they're going to give you this thing in exchange, right? So the commitment has never really actually meant anything until the contract's signed. That's not new. But it used to kind of like low-key like be a bad look to decommit, right? Well, you gave them your word, right? My parents taught me to honor my commitment, right? I'd hear these things and I agree, right? But what's happened because the transfer portal, and I'm not just blaming the schools. I feel bad for college football coaches, by the way, for having to live through this shit. But like what's flipped is because that school might they might lose somebody in the portal. They might have to get another guy in the portal. The thing that you committed to can change overnight now, right? So you could be a sophomore in high school committed to, I'll make up a school, Texas, okay? I'm committed to Texas. And this guy's the junior, and then you're looking at the room, okay? And then this guy's a freshman, so I'm going to have to beat that guy out. It's Texas, so they're going to recruit somebody really good. So I'm going to have to always, whoever they go sign, freshman kid, I'm going to always have to beat out some 4 or 5 star. But all of a sudden, what's happened now because of like the portal and NIL is like, no, they just got Drake May from North Carolina. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they just got some dude who's only got 1 more year left or 2 more years left. He's a first round pick. Well, hold on. I didn't commit to that. So to summarize all this is I don't think the commitment has changed. I think what kids are committing to is changing so much, it makes the commitment irrelevant.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. You got to throw it deep on this one. And just hearing you say that, just the multitude of different scenarios that could happen. As a high school recruit, I'm putting my mind back into my high school recruiting days, right?
When I was 5-star.
I had, my pick of the litter back in high school, right? And even then I was stressed out. I remember when I committed to A&M, I thought there was a quarterback called Brandon Harris back then. You probably remember him. He ended up going to LSU, but he was almost going to commit to A&M. And there was a couple other guys I was thinking there, and I really wanted to go there. And I was like, man, if they go there, I can't go there. Like I'm screwed. I got to find somewhere else to go. So that was like back then when it only mattered when you were thinking about your high school recruiting class. Now factor in every other quarterback in the country who is allowed to transfer and that school might take. Like, what do you do as a high school recruit? Like, I feel bad for the coaches, but as like a high school recruit, like what is important to you when you're committing? Like, I
think early on, you're committing to if they have a good young starter, and obviously it's the place I want to go. If they have a good young starter, and I am doing that, and I am looking around, and I'm better understanding the landscape, and you got to respond and react.
Yeah, it's almost you flip your thinking, right? Like you don't really mind if there's a young guy playing right there, like a freshman or a sophomore that's doing well, right? It's almost a little bit more security because then guys from the outside aren't going to come in. You almost don't want to go somewhere where it's a senior who is a baller and is going to leave for the NFL, and then that spot's open at the end of the year, right? You just see this with our guest we're about to have, Max Duggan. He's just declaring for the draft, and I'm sure there's plenty of guys in college football who would love to go to TCU right now, right? So think about recruits trying to go there. I just think from a high school recruit standpoint, I wonder what is important to them at this point. Like, I don't know what I would think was important to me right now.
Yeah, it's evolving, and they got their head on a swivel, man. It's like a walk-on run down on kickoff. It's like, I don't know where this is coming from, but it's coming.
But you know what? You have walk-on on kickoff. Well, I'm going to tell this story real quick because we don't have any more throw deeper checking out. We're going to get into the interview with Max. It was a great interview. But we had this thing in college, and it was called the Shit Bowl. Okay, it's kind of a fucked up name, but it was called the Shit Bowl. Every Thursday, like we would have an unpadded practice. It was kind of our prep before our walkthrough on Friday before the game on Saturday. So Thursday was our walkthrough practice. But if you were a walk-on, you had all your pads in your locker. You had your shoulder pads, you had your helmet, and you had your pants. And after the walkthrough practice, the walk-ons would go out and they would have the Shit Bowl, and it would be the offense of walk-ons versus the defense of walk-ons, and the starters would be the coaches of each team, and you would do like 3 or 4 series against each other from like the 40-yard line going in, and whichever side stopped them or scored the most times won.
Was there enough? Was this 11 on 11 or?
Well, it was full 11 on 11. Like this is A&M, so you had like tons of people, tons of walk-ons. There's so many walk-ons, and we had this roll of toilet paper, and with Sharpie it said "You're the shit," and whoever was the MVP of the Shit Bowl that day, they threw the toilet paper to them, and they're the MVP of that week. And it's so fucked up.
Dude, how do they not have? You might change the name, but like that sounds amazing. Like that's it was like the funnest. That's the thing. They like those walk-ons. Like they picked the Wednesday night to be the night that they didn't drink that night that week
exactly.
to get ready for that.
Yeah.
The other six.
Like our favorite part of the week, it was me and Connor McQueen just out there calling plays, like trying to dial it up to win the shit bowl every Thursday. It was so awesome.
Well, you mentioned it, man. This is a great guest. We just recorded this with him, just, getting ready for a big game. So we built it around him. But to be honest, and we'll talk about it, but like, I didn't know this guy a ton. I've been around him a little bit. Everything I got exposed to on him, I was like, man, I'm a fan. I think he's got a chance. But as I've gotten to know him better, I'm like, I know this is a real one. This is not some like had a crazy year and we'll see what happens. This is like I would bet. And it's a fascinating interview and really interesting. There's a lot of stuff I thought I knew about him. I definitely didn't know everything. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is Max Duggan from Council Bluffs, Iowa, starting quarterback 4 years in a row at TCU. Taking on Michigan as the third-ranked team in the country with a chance to win a natty in a year where I do think it's up for grabs. With no further ado, let's get into the interview with Max Duggan.
All right, we got a really sick guest this week. Someone who I don't know, someone who JP is pretty familiar with, but someone who I've followed kind of over the last year, really. I've been watching a lot more college football. JP knows this. I've been trying to get good on college football this year, but seen a lot of games. You had a lot of primetime games. TCU's own Max Duggan. Thanks for taking the time. 10 days before the college football playoff. How you doing, bro?
Good. How are you guys? Appreciate you guys having me on.
We're good, dude. We're great. We're stoked to have you on. Jordan, you guys know each other pretty well though, right?
I mean, honestly, it's just really Elite 11. I met him in that process and then just watched from afar, watched him play. And then we kind of got reconnected this year. So Kyle knows this, but I interact with guys all sorts of ways. Some dudes like Kyle kind of started working when he was 16 every offseason since. And he's, like an adult now. There's guys that I just draft prep, just a couple of years, whatever. So Max just kind of came back into the mix and yeah, we've been talking a little bit more lately. And dude, I've had a blast watching this year. I love whether it's underdog story or just this wasn't supposed to happen this way. I'm a fan of those. And so I'm fired up to get to know you better and give other people a chance to get to know you better, because one of the things that's true in college and pro football is the media always wants to talk quarterback. But what's true, and most people don't realize or think about it this way is, they also only want to talk about the exact same quarterbacks. Like the only thing happening in the NFL right now is like a list of like 6 or 7 quarterbacks. And yet there's some other dudes, there's some interesting stuff happening. Until the Heisman rolled around, I think you were one of those guys where everyone knew the team was good. They knew the quarterback was balling, didn't realize second place in the Heisman voting balling and a chance to win a national championship. So I'm pumped to get to know you better and to give people a chance to do the same thing. So thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, the way you guys play at TCU too, like talk about some fun fucking football to watch. You guys just chuck that bitch deep, bro. Like because you were with Gary Patterson before, right? So Gary Patterson there forever. You get Sonny Dykes in. Sonny Dykes is known as forever as an air raid guy. He was back at Cal when I had buddies at Cal. He was in Texas and another school. I forgot which one. But what is the difference going from a guy like Gary Patterson to Sonny Dykes, where I've really only started watching TCU football this year, but it seems like every ball is 20 plus yards down the field?
Yeah, it's been awesome. You get Coach Dykes and, he's in that kind of air raid, coaching tree under all the greats. But it's just been fun because he goes out there and he puts so much confidence in us as an offense, as a team. Be bold, be aggressive. Don't be reckless, but we're going to take our shots. And it's awesome when it's like first drive of the game and first fourth down, 4th and 1, you're on your 50-yard line. He's like, we're going for it. We're not going to punt. We're going to go for it. We go for on 4th, multiple times throughout the game. Take chances. We're throwing the ball around the field. Throwing it downfield. Trying to have some fun. People don't go to games to watch a 3-2 game. They want to see points up on the scoreboard, so it's been cool.
Yeah, especially from TCU this year. So you guys preseason, you were picked 7th to finish 7th in the Big 12, right? You were announced as the backup before the season too. Like quarterback battles in college are real, and like when you lose those battles, you feel like your career might be over at that point. So you lose that battle in August. Now fast forward to right now, you just got runner up for the Heisman. Your team's in the college football playoff, number 3, playing number 2 Michigan, with a real shot to win and make it to the final.
Oh, they're the favorite in my house. Not just saying that either. You guys should beat them, I think.
Right?
Yeah.
So from your perspective, like real shit, like how do you think that happens from you? From going from August, I'm the 2, thinking I was going to be the 1 coming into the year, to now being able to persevere through that and get to this point?
Yeah, man, it's been surreal. Like, I was fortunate enough to play a little bit coming up, and then you go into your senior year. And
how many games did you start before?
About 40, maybe a little bit over 40 coming into the senior year. So
That's a lot of games.
yeah, I was fortunate enough to be able to play, get thrown in there as a freshman. And obviously we weren't very good the last 3 years. I was responsible for a lot of that, of not playing very good. And, we hadn't made a bowl game since I've been there. So when you get a new staff, obviously you're going to go in, let's have a quarterback competition. Let's open this thing up. I didn't win it coming out of fall camp. I was pretty disappointed in myself. Obviously, just as a competitor, you want to be the guy.
Real quick, was it a dead heat and he was a little bit better and they went with him, or do you really feel like, set aside like self-deprecation and humility, did you get beat out? Like, at that point, were you feeling like I got beat out, or were you feeling like, man, it's dead even, they went with him, and it's obviously probably fine to say whatever you think now, but it doesn't matter?
Yeah, no, I did get beat out, and I'll say that. And it's, the other kid, Chandler, he had an amazing camp, and I think, and I knew this kind of going in, is that as my playing ability, I don't look good in shorts and a t-shirt. I don't look good, throwing 7-on-7. I'm not going to look the prettiest out there, but when you get into the fire, the bullets start going, is kind of where I kind of think I play my best, and it's kind of hard to replicate that in fall camp, when stuff starts hitting the fan. So obviously when you get into the season, bad stuff goes on. You gotta, adversity hits. You gotta, kind of get back out there, is when I kind of thrive in my head, where I can kind of, play at my best, my highest.
I love it. You said and again, I love the humility and all that, but you said the first 3 years, a lot of that was your fault, right? That not playing well. I think any starting quarterback would say that, and it's true more than others in certain cases. Well, then now you just lit it up. So maybe what's one or two things that you would say you were bad at that clicked for you this year, or, offensively we're able to solve for that, or maybe just your development? Like, what is the difference between the first 3 years and the fourth year?
Yeah, there's obviously a ton of development that I think I improved on, but I think the biggest thing was I was always trying to make the, big play, that fantastic play, and instead of trying to make the right play. I was always trying to make the, the sick Sports Center highlight tape, trying to do too much, trying to fit a ball in when I probably shouldn't in a window, getting picked, trying to make a play in a pocket and losing the ball and fumbling it. And coming to this season, I think just taking a step back and just, JP, we talk about just putting the ball in play, letting our guys go be athletic, let them do their thing, just kind of be the guy out there that's, high completion rate, putting it out there, letting the guys go, be themselves, be confident, play a little bit looser and not as, tight, I think.
Yeah, that's a tough line to balance. I feel like, especially with the way you guys play on offense with so many big plays, it's tough to balance. Like, when do I press? When do I push it a little bit? When do I try and fit in that window? And when do I, get it to my guys in space? When I think about that, right, when I go into a game trying to figure out, all right, let's play with great ball security, let's get the ball in play, right? I usually tell myself like the same thing before every drive and every play. I walk up, like, out loud, I'll tell myself, have a plan every play. Is there something that you like to tell yourself, like self-talk wise, before each play?
Yeah, so I think that my dad was my high school coach. He was a high school coach for 35 years. But the thing that he always talked to me was SEC, shortest, easiest completion. And I think that's before the start of the drive. It's like, all right, where can I find my easiest completion? It might be a hitch route. It might be a little quick screen, quick hitch route. Anything to kind of just get you going, like maybe get, 4 yards, get the, momentum going, build your confidence up. I think that's kind of my thought process at the beginning of a drive, whether it is a run or throw, just, hey, where's my easiest completion, shortest, something to just kind of get the ball moving, get our guys to kind of relax a little bit.
I think we've seen this. I talk about this a lot with young guys, especially, but even in the media and stuff. Like, when I grew up, so I'm 38. When I was little, Allen Iverson was like my favorite player. So I'd watch Allen Iverson in the NBA. And then as I got older, like in high school and college, and I was just like, I understood basketball better. You know what I mean? And I started watching. I really started liking Steve Nash, and then Chris Paul, and and Tony Parker. My freaking roommate in college is like the biggest, most obnoxious Spurs fan. They won like 3 titles when I was in college. It was ridiculous.
Spurs.
So, but really what it was like this, the best point guards in the league became, yes, they'll totally hit a 3 if it's open. Mm-hmm. And they can create a shot. They can hit a step back jumper too. But what they're really doing is they're passing it to somebody who has a super high percentage shot. Mm-hmm. Like Tim Duncan had more layups right? Catch, one dribble, ball up, layup, than anybody, right? And he was like the MVP. It's not like they weren't covering him, right? And so it's really like what they become is great distributors of the basketball. So they might do something to create, or they're just not greedy and they take the thing that's right there. And I just think there's just been this evolution of quarterbacks where we've got in the NFL right now some guys who are highlight machines, right? Like Josh, Patrick, Joe, Herbert. These guys are making like 5, 6, 7, 8 highlight plays a game, but they're also super consistent on bubble screens. They take that shallow cross and hit him in stride. Like they'll eyes downfield, punt fake, kick it to the flat real quick, right? And so they're distributing the football, but making the plays that are there. As I look at guys projecting from college to pro, I just said I think it's happening all the time with the best players. So it's got to be something I care about as I help guys transition from college to pro. It's something I look for in guys. Like Max, I see it in you. Like, does that make sense? Is that part of your evolution of like when you say SEC and shortest, easiest completion, like this 1 year under Garrett Riley, because it's not just Sonny Dykes, Garrett Riley, is it like a switch went off? Is it a light bulb? Or is it just you got a year's worth of repetition and this is the path you're heading down?
I think it was a little bit of both of, Coach Riley coming in and kind of honing in on it of, we got dudes that can play and us putting it in play, that's all you can ask for because, those dudes can go make plays. But I think being a starter for the last 3 years and you start to understand tendencies of yourself, you understand the flows of games in college football of things that have worked, things that haven't worked. And, understanding that obviously when you get your shots, you need to take them. But yeah, like you said, throwing a little shallow cross, throwing a bubble screen, throwing a hitch, and just putting it in play. And that 5-yard hitch might turn into 13, on a 3rd and 12 or something like that. So I think just evolving and maturing, into the position and watching guys, whether it's guys older than me in college, guys in the league right now, and seeing how they play the position and really studying them has helped me a lot.
I like how you keep saying that, putting it in play. I don't think I've heard that before. It's like just baseball, like just put it in play, man. Something good.
Just see what happens, man. That's all you can ask for. You don't know what can happen.
Yeah. Jordan, you're going back to your point with a lot of these guys like Pat. We played the Chiefs this last weekend, close game. We ended up losing in overtime. But after the game, we went back and look at the stats, right? Pat's 36 of 41. Doesn't even feel like it, right? It's just like you look back and you're like, no way. He was 36 of 40 run. Like it's almost like playing golf with a really good golfer and you look up after the round and they shot like a 68 and you're like, holy shit. Like it just doesn't like they just keep doing the same thing. They keep doing the right thing. They're not missing. They're putting it in play. They're checking it down, and I think after watching that in Pat, and I just love when we play against guys like that, young guys in their career who are really good, like playing with Pat and play with Josh and even watching Joe in film. Those guys are the kind of the evolution of the game when I see it. And you just mentioned it, Max. You said you watch a lot of guys in the NFL. Who are some of your favorite guys right now to watch? Probably some of those guys if I had to guess.
Yeah, I was talking to Jordan, like even, before we started getting into to know each other, but Joe was just an awesome guy to watch, mobility wise and pocket presence and things of that sort of getting, not really off platform in the pocket, but just slight movement and things of that sort and being ready to trigger the ball. Obviously I grew up a Green Bay fan. So, you watch Rodgers, obviously you don't want to, mimic him in every way, but the things that he can do with his arm and the shots that he can take with ball placement and quick release and things he does on play actions with fakes and, on the run, things of that sort. So there's just a couple of things that you can kind of, take from guys. Obviously you're not trying to be them, but just take little things that you might see that could probably help you.
Joe's a machine this year, Jordan. Joe's an absolute machine. It's unbelievable to watch on film, dude.
He hasn't missed in a minute, man. And he's got guys for sure, but decision making, it's the accuracy. It's like the only mistakes he's making right now is if somebody jumps up and tips it in the air. That's it. He's got, I think, 20-something touchdowns and 4 picks in the last run. 4 picks that were tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, did you see what he said the other day? He was like, the only time I throw picks anymore is if it's tipped. If it's a tipped ball. He's so cocky, but it works.
It's like low-key, and it doesn't bother anybody.
I know. It's like great. It's just turned out to who he is, man.
But I think with Joe, it's just the efficiency. They're just you can now watch an entire game and not see an inefficient movement. And so, I mean, the appendectomy set him back. The knee surgery set him back 2 years ago, but he's on a trajectory right now. I'm probably going to be out in Cincy here in 2 weeks for when Josh comes to town. So January 2nd, we got Buffalo at Cincy, and that game's going to matter a lot to both teams. So
yeah, big AFC.
It's going to be dope.
Going to matter a lot for Cincy too. They got to win
both teams.
Oh yeah. Well, and Buffalo for the number 1 in the playoffs too.
So
yeah, we're talking about NFL guys too, Max. We had Taylor Heineke on earlier this year. I think when I watch you play in those games, especially we watched, like, our whole team was watching the TCU K-State game in the hotel the night before the game. We were all getting food right before our meetings, watching your guys' Big 12 game. When I see you play, it kind of reminds me of a guy like that. It's almost like, I want to say Big Ben-ish, but you run a lot more. It seems like you like to take some hits early in games. You like to feel that, to get yourself set. And it's like you said, you look good in shorts. You look good out there in the fire. Is that something, like, do you like to take a hit early on in the game to get going?
Yeah, I think it helps a lot to kind of settle in, get your bell rung a little bit, kind of get you into the game, get you feeling, like you're playing now. Once you get that big hit out of the way, then, usually whatever you're feeling, pre-game is usually gone after that, and, you're feeling pretty good.
Remember Johnny Manziel used to tell that to me. Johnny was like, he would always want a quarterback run called on the first play of the game. You go back and look at his, like, junior year at A&M, every first play of the game was a quarterback run call. He needed it to set his pads. So you go into a game against Michigan like this, college football playoff, probably the biggest game of your career right now. Defense I didn't realize this. I picked Ohio State when it was Ohio State, Michigan. I had picked against my coach. I said, I gave Ohio State minus 14 points. I was like, Ohio State's going to blow them out. It's Michigan. Like, they're not going to do it. And then Michigan ended up blowing them out. You're playing against a good defense like this. What do you think that when you go into a game like this, do you think you need to run more because of that? Do you think, like, that's something that you need to put on your shoulders, or is it still just kind of like, hey man, I just need to put the ball in play this game?
Yeah, I think going into this, we know how good they are, especially defensively, what they do. But I think, we got to, we can't be scared or think of a brand, like they're this or anything like that. We know how good they are, but I don't think we can shy away from, what our identity is and what we do best. And I think just playing our game, going in there, being confident, being bold and aggressive out there, doing our thing. Obviously, we try to be balanced, but kind of get a feel for the game of what they're giving us. Obviously, we get a couple of weeks to prepare for them, but just being us, not really shying away from our identity and just going out there, kind of spinning it around a little bit.
TCU's on the map right now, man. We'll see with you declaring and leaving early for the draft. We'll see kind of what happens there with which quarterback ends up coming in if they go that route. And you guys got a chance to win a national championship here, and then whatever's going to happen after this. So when I left Cincinnati Bengals, it was Andy Dalton came in. So Andy Dalton came in, second round pick, lockout. I organized all the team workouts out here in Orange County, and Andy was a young rookie dude, came in a part of that, and was kind of had to make a choice back then of like, am I going to help this guy or am I going to not acknowledge that he's in the room? And honestly, like, people choose right down the middle, 50-50. Mm-hmm. Sorry, dude, I can't help it. You know what I mean? So I chose the first one, right? And we've got a great relationship. You kind of came in when Andy left, right? So what was that like? Because really before Andy, Andy was Rose Bowl. Andy was second round pick. He wasn't like the 15th at TCU quarterback in a row. Talk a little bit about your entry point, even though it feels like 10 years ago, Andy Dalton, and having an NFL guy that you kind of came in into college.
Yeah, it was awesome because, Andy has his legacy that's, so big at TCU, and what he did was put TCU on the map. He was the guy, taking TCU to win a Rose Bowl, bringing him to the Fiesta Bowl, so many, league championships, going undefeated, things of that sort. And he put TCU on the map and made people kind of, recognize what they were doing. And then he goes, into the NFL, and he's still playing today. And he still has such a good relationship, with me and, our guys on the team, TCU, and the community still around. He's got a house down here. His family's awesome. But it's just awesome to, see his legacy. And, that's when you come in as a kid, that's who you want to be like. That was the name that you wanted to be like. Could you do what he did? Could you build TCU up just as he did? Make kids want to go here, make TCU in a better spot, bring this program, back to the top. And that was something that, I wanted to do, and I watched from afar growing up.
Do you have red hair?
I do.
Slightly ginger. I think maybe that's got to be the code, right? It's just not worked until we get another.
Nothing like Andy, though. Andy's
red, crazy too. After
Andy's
Andy's career switched when he got the haircut. You remember, he was just kind of like whatever, Andy, and then that one year he came with the flow.
Here's the thing, though. Andy from day one, he's always had swag. He's got the long tee that's cut cool. He's got the fade. Like, he's like, the stuff all matches the shoes that are out. Like, he's always had his own swag. And his dad's swag now. He's got we're in the same setup, man. He's got 3 kids, him and JJ. His wife's amazing. But he's always had swag. It's just the orange hair. It throws you for a loop. And his is orange. Yours is more like, that's what I said. He's like Darnie's, like Sam.
Yeah.
Just like my brother. Just like my beard, this shit turns orange. my hair is like dirty blonde, but like I don't know what the lighting is in here, but like I'm gingerbeard for sure.
His is definitely redder though right now for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Max, we got a couple games for you, and then we'll let you go study against Michigan's defense, since I know that's what you're doing at 7:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. All right, the first one. So you guys are the Horned Frogs, which I just don't even know if it's a real animal, to be honest with you.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it, to be honest, but
Believe it when I see
we're
it.
going to play a game that's called Is It a Mascot? All right, we're going to give you mascots from other colleges, and you're going to tell us if it's a mascot or not.
All right.
Does he get like bonus points if he can say the name of the school too?
Yeah, if you can name them, you get a bonus point. There you go.
Sweet.
All right, first one. It's the Kangaroos. Is it a mascot?
All
But
right,
this
I'm gonna
isn't like a rugby team in Australia.
go-
You know what I
okay,
mean?
Yeah. All right. Kangaroo. I'm gonna go yes. Mascot.
It's correct. It's the University of Kansas City, Missouri. Nice job. The Kangaroos. Very
I
indigenous.
kind of feel like I need. Yeah, that's. It's like the Jaguars that are just roaming around Jacksonville, Florida. There's a couple of these that I'm like, ooh, I need a University of Kansas City, Missouri kangaroo flat bill for sure.
Dude, it's like all the AA teams. It's like my like sixth grade baseball team was off a AA team called the Biscuits. And we literally just had a fucking biscuit as our hat. It was the best thing ever. All right, next one. The Demon Deers.
The Demon Deers. I'm gonna go yeah. I'm gonna say yes. It's up in like the Midwest.
Oh no, it's not. That'd be a
Oh,
fucking
Got him.
Deers.
And you read it wrong because deer is one of those words where it's like plural and singular.
Thanks.
So that would have been. I
He's
would have.
one in college. You should correct me here. All right. The Fighting Camels.
I'm gonna go no.
Not off to a hot start. That's a yes.
Dude.
That's Campbell.
All right, here we go. I gotta lock in here.
Fighting Camels.
Campbell University is what that is.
Oh,
Whatever
okay.
that is.
I don't know where Campbell is.
I don't either.
All right. Next one. Banana Slugs.
Yes.
Correct. UC Santa Cruz. That's a solid one.
That's a
Banana Slugs.
really good one. They got a good baseball program, so like a lot of people is on the West Coast like know the Banana Slugs.
They got Banana Slugs merch.
Yeah, they do.
I need to
I'm
get
sure it pops through.
All right. Next one. The Sea Dragons.
I'm gonna go no.
You're technically right, but also it's an XFL team, so you're wrong.
Oh, my
That
bad, JB.
You just met a sea dragon last week.
I didn't know the team names.
I know. I don't know. I have all of them right.
There's like the Vipers and stuff like that. They got cool names though.
The Sea
I don't
Dragons.
have all of them.
The best one is the Seattle hockey team, the new one, the Kraken.
Oh
Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Kraken, sweet. All right, last one. The Cyclops.
I'm gonna go no.
Correct. There you go. And then just for fun, the Horned Frogs.
I'm telling you, it's a real thing. Like down here in Texas, they're real things.
They wander around the desert.
They wander around. They're super small, but they are real.
Are they poisonous?
I don't know. They're more of a toad than a frog, though.
Oh,
So
hear that. The horned toads over here.
Horny toad.
Nice. Okay, we got
Yeah.
one more game, and then we got QB to QB, and then 2-minute drill. And we'll get you out here, okay?
Sweet.
So TCU, first time in the college football playoff, right? Pretty awesome, dude. How
Yeah.
long has college football playoff been around? Do you remember? I was talking to Jake about this before, our producer. Do you remember when it was the BCS?
oh yeah, I remember. I remember the first year of the playoff. TCU got they got knocked out of it. They went from 3-6 after beating Iowa State by like 55.
Really? They dropped
Yeah.
that after winning?
The last week of the year. That was when the Big 12 didn't have a championship game. So
Oh.
them and Baylor beat them. Baylor also had a loss. So then they got knocked out for Ohio State. Ohio State ended up winning the whole thing, so they kind of got it right. But
Yeah.
yeah, we remember that very, very much around TCU community.
Wow. Yeah. No respect.
Were you there?
I was not there, no.
Okay, I was gonna say that seems like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, but TCU's first year in the college football playoff. Congratulations, if we haven't already said so.
So, I
So
appreciate
we're
it.
gonna play a first impression game. These are names around the college football playoff. We're just gonna rattle off names quick. We're gonna give you a name. You give us your first impression of this name. All right.
All right.
First one, Kirk Herbstreit.
I like him. He always picks against us on game day though, but yeah, we got to get him to pick the Horned Frogs a little bit more.
Do you think he's gonna pick you against Michigan?
Doubt it.
Doubt it. Come on, Kirk.
It's all right. It's all right with us.
All right.
He's our guest next week, by the way.
He is our-
Okay.
We'll ask him.
We'll tell him.
Yeah, let him know.
Next one, Pat McAfee.
Oh, I love him. I love watching his show. He's a good dude. Brings some energy to game day. He started to become a fan of TCU, but it's been awesome.
Great energy to game day. The game day had their best numbers ever this year. Do you see that, Jordan?
Yep.
Okay, Michigan's defense.
Yeah, pretty damn good. It's gonna make our job a little bit tough, but we're excited about the opportunity.
Everybody's beatable, man. First impression of him.
Yeah, he's a low key guy, but when he needs rip someone's butt, he gets a little bit scary. Found that out pretty quickly in a team meeting when someone walked in late. So, but I love the guy.
Got to set the tone early. Jim Harbaugh.
Don't know much about Coach Harbaugh, only that him in his khaki pants. He used to recruit a couple kids around my area. I know he was always wearing the khaki pants. Pretty big deal. So
Khakis. You know what else comes to mind when I think of Harbaugh, Jordan? Is his sleepovers on his recruiting visits.
Dude, he's so lame. Like, he's my least favorite person in college football, I think. Not even of recent too. I just like the collective of all of it. And I don't really talk trash on anybody. I'm just like, I don't believe it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on from that one. Quentin Johnson.
my dog, that's my guy.
Yeah.
I can close my eyes and punt it to him. I should probably get picked a lot, and he bails me out. So good thing he's on our team.
Always good. You know what I used to say is like sometimes when you got a frontside concept and you got your guy backside, the go route check down is not the worst thing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, find your one-on-ones. If you got a one-on-one with him, I'm gonna go find it.
He's a baller, man. CJ Stroud.
Yeah, he's a dude. He's a humble guy. It was good meeting him. During the Heisman ceremony, the kid's got he has an awesome why. So just getting to see him and him be successful has been awesome.
Yeah, it seemed like everyone that was there, just awesome, high character dudes, like great people. It seemed like a really solid group this year.
Yeah, it was awesome.
4 completely different stories.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Completely different.
Awesome. This is like one of my favorite Heisman, just like most memorable Heisman's, because working with young guys, like there's 4 completely different, like, starting points that ended right here. And it was just like so rad and they're great dudes,
Did they tell you why, like they cut off, like, cause they always invite a different amount of people every year. Did they tell you why they cut it off at 4 and didn't invite Hendon Hooker?
I don't know why obviously I'm not up there and they don't tell me anything. I'm not important. So I don't know why they didn't. Some other guys, I know a bunch of guys were deserving.
Who was your favorite person you met at the Heisman? I saw it was like Tebow and Johnny. I saw Tebow, Johnny, and RG3 in a video together, and it was like the weirdest triple of all time.
Yeah, there was all those dudes. Yeah, I was trying to get a lift in with Tebow. He was trying to come get a lift in with us, but he had some media stuff. But there's a bunch of dudes like Troy Smith was there. Tony.
Did you meet my brother?
Yeah. I met him right before the ceremony when he was walking. He was he was with Matt and Caleb and all the other USC dudes. But it was there's tons of dudes there. That's like all the legends you grew up watching. It's like dang, Coach Spurrier was there. It was awesome. Danny Werfel.
Cool. Wow, I bet you have never watched any Danny Werfel tape.
I'm telling my dad played quarterback. My dad played quarterback in college, and he was always talked about it. He makes me watch all the good games. So I was able to sit with him at dinner. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. All right, we got 2 more names. Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, he's a dude. It's kind of funny to kind of get to know him and his story and all the things that he had to go through and come up through. Coming in as a walk-on and having to go JUCO and coming back and winning a national title and Heisman finalist. He got in the playoff again and just down to earth, dude.
It's awesome. Last one, JJ McCarthy.
I don't know JJ like at all. I not too much. Been able to follow him a little bit, but it's been fun watching him. It'll be fun to compete against him. On the 31st.
I'm stoked, dude. That's what the games are, the 31st. Are both of them that day, or is one 31st?
Yeah.
Or is both the 31st?
Yeah, both New Year's Eve.
The best, dude. New Year's Eve. That's the best, dude. That's gonna be awesome, man.
Too sweet.
All right. One more segment, QB to QB. We started this with Kirk Cousins a couple weeks ago. The concept is we get our guests from the previous week to ask our guests the next week a question. Usually our guests don't know who the guest is going to be. It started off with Kirk Cousins asking Ryan Fitzpatrick what his cover 0 answers were. Ryan Fitzpatrick asked Sam Darnold what his lowest point of adversity was and how he got over it, yada, yada, yada. We had XFL.
Be anything.
Anything. We had XFL legend Ben DiNucci on last week, and he decided to switch it up and ask, would you rather have fingers for toes or toes for fingers? So this is a really deep one for you.
Right, cool. Okay, hold on. Ask it again.
Fingers for toes and on your hand, or toes for fingers. Toes all around.
Fingers as toes.
It's got to be, right? Like, that's not even a question. Thumbs on your feet.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, fingers as toes, definitely the way to go.
All right, so we'll get your question for the next quarterback.
Which would just be, but you got let that play out though. Like you're going to run, and it's like that changes everything.
Well,
does that mean you can't really walk comfortably and you can't really run? Because I don't know about you two, but like I use my hands for all sorts of cool things.
Well, imagine
like that would be
your hands for if you had 4 though. It would be crazy, dude.
It's an interesting one. I hated the question, but we're doing it and we're honoring it. There's the question.
We have to honor it. I thought about before switching the question, but I'm a high character guy over here.
Yeah. Locker room guy. All right. So it doesn't have to be specific for Herb Street. I usually don't tell the guys who is on next beat, but it could be for anybody. And Herb Street's a former quarterback anyways. So question you want to throw for the next guest?
It's something, obviously Kirk is quarterback and been around college football. So
just in case he bails on us, right?
Okay.
Maybe that's I don't know who it is. Just the next question, but it's somebody who has played or is playing quarterback.
Okay. Favorite red zone concept?
Great.
Yeah, what's the favorite red zone concept?
What's yours right now? Well, I don't want to give it up. I don't know.
What's this? What's worked well this year? Right?
Say you're playing a quarters. I don't even know what Michigan runs. Say you're playing a red 2 quarters team in the red zone.
Yeah, so something that I've always liked and, used it, it's pretty basic, but running wide cross with deep post behind, just reading that free safety, seeing if you can kind of get like a little high-low on them, whether it's wide cross, whether it's, stick glance, stick post, something like that, some high-low variation where you can kind of get that, high, back end goal line post throw up by the, upright. I think that's one of my favorite concepts to throw down there, especially against like a quarters team.
Yeah, where are you calling that from? Like 20, 25? You calling it any closer than that?
Yeah, wide cross post is probably around the 20. If you get kind of lower down there, you can kind of go stick glance, something that we run, kind of low red that, you can bang a stick in, maybe get a, if you got a tall receiver, kind of throw it up to him on the post or glance.
I like it.
Red zone's tough, man. Fucking
everything's
red zone league.
The only thing though, in college, man, you get on that hash. There's so much space over there. So hard to defend that much area.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much more you can do from in college when you get on those wide hashes. When you get down the red zone and teams, like I remember for the longest time in the NFL, teams would just play like this soft drop cover 3, like at the goal line, and they would just stand there and pass everything off, and everything just looked like shit. And if you didn't throw it right on time, you were scrambling. It's tough, man. I like your answer though. That's good.
Yeah, that's great. All right, let's shift in. This is the last thing, little 2-minute drill. So this is kind of low key our favorite part. So we get to know guys a little bit better. We've had a couple that were solid and a couple that were like, damn, that was amazing. But yeah, we're going to throw 2 minutes up on the board. This is your journey, man. There's going to be some young guys that watch this. There's going to be some fans who are like, no way, that's badass. I didn't know that about him. And yeah, so 2 minutes. That little ball's going to move across the field when we show it. Okay, and cool. Start this thing wherever you want, man. I know you're from a small town and now you're under some bright lights. So the highs, the lows. Tell us about Maxwell Duggan.
Yeah. So I came from Council Bluffs, Iowa, a decent town in Iowa, not small, not huge, grew up with, my 2 parents my dad played quarterback in college. My mom ran track. I got 2 adopted siblings from South Korea. So it's been fun getting to, live my life with them. It's a little unique, different personalities, different mindsets, getting to be with them, but just been incredible. I played 4 sports in high school: football, basketball, baseball, track. Just love being out there with the boys, being outside, things of that sort. But I went to school at TCU, wanted to play there. Was fortunate enough to play as a freshman. A lot of ups and downs. Weren't great on the field, but, got a shot to go into my sophomore years. And then, right before the season, had a heart condition that I found out that I had since birth. Had a 9-hour heart procedure. 2 days later, had a emergency surgery for a blood clot. So I had to get through that. Was able to play my sophomore year. After that, didn't miss a game. Junior year, getting into things again. About 4th game in, I break my foot. Things of that sort. I had to play through that, just adversity, things of that sort. Going into my senior year, new coaching staff, lose my coach that I committed to. New coach comes in, I lose the starting spot in fall camp as a quarterback battle. Decide not to transfer, want to stay there with my guys that I grew up with. First game in, quarterback ends up, unfortunately going down. And, I get a shot to go in and help lead this team and keep things going. We've had a great season, been around these guys at TCU, a lot of accolades for my guys, and they deserve it. Get a shot to go play for a national championship against a great team, but just a lot of support in my corner. A lot of people from Council Bluffs at TCU that have had my back, and just grateful to be in this position with all those people, and love to share my story.
I had no clue about 2 adopted siblings. You said from South Korea too?
Yes, sir. Yep, South Korea.
Do you speak any of what's the language over there?
Yeah, so they were actually both adopted before I was born. My brother and sister were adopted before I was born, so I grew up with them, and they were adopted by when they were like 6 months old.
Oh, okay.
So they don't know us, but when I graduate and I'm done with football, we're gonna try to take a trip out there and check it out. It's gonna be pretty cool.
And your heart condition. I mean, I need to do more research on this, but that's unbelievable. Your heart condition, 9-hour surgery, blood clot a couple of days later. What was the heart condition like exactly?
It's called Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. So I had it since birth, but I found out of it when I got COVID, and you have to do all those heart
Yeah,
screenings to come back and play. You do an
couple guys.
EKG and
Yeah.
yeah. So then they found out about it, and yeah, I go in. It's supposed to be a 2-hour procedure. Ends up taking 9 hours. It's just something that makes your heart beat, really, really fast. Like my heartbeat when I did my test got to 269 beats per minute,
What?
Wow.
and I think you
Heavy.
die at like 300.
What? That's
So
unbelievable.
yeah, I go through that. It takes a little bit longer than it needs to. 2 days later, I have a blood clot, so go into emergency surgery for that. But I was able to be there for the first game.
Do you have anything like pacemaker? Like, I don't even know the situation. Nothing.
No, so I wasn't opened up. They went through my neck and my groin with a bunch of catheters, a bunch of pipes, all that, stuff like that. It was kind of weird because they couldn't put me to sleep because my heart needed to pump. So I was awake for like the whole 9 hours.
No way.
Yeah, I could like talk to them. I was loopy and all that, but I could talk to the doctors, be like, "Hey, I feel this. It
9
hurts." Like
hours.
it was
What did you
weird.
do? Did you have like a TV or anything, or you?
No, because I'm like, it was pretty much like you were in and out of a dream, but like you're just laying there and they're trying to, "Hey, Max, you doing okay? You feel this? Does it hurt?" Like, yeah, it hurts. Like, pump me with more medicine, whatever it was. But yeah, my mom was freaking out.
What?
That's so gnarly, dude.
That is bananas, dude. That's why we do the 2-minute drill right there, man. That was incredible. That was awesome with the time to spare too. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, man. That's real. And Kyle and I see the world the same way, see this position the same way. And it's a series of ups and downs. It's how do you handle them? We see people that are really good at handling success. It's adversity that cripples them. We see people that are at their best when their back's against the wall, but they got a success problem. Things go well. They don't know how to handle it. And that's what screws them up. So I think when you can enter into the league, which you'll do after this title run, if you've got a bunch of the things that you've dealt with on both, if you've got some reps at adversity, like some of the things that you mentioned, and if you got some reps at success, which this was not the first successful thing you've done. I mean, shit, we met at the Elite 11. You were one of the top recruits in the country, all that, right? So you've had success too. I just think you're much more prepared to go into the league than if you've only had one, if you've only had success, or if you've only been shit on. And so, man, I got a lot of confidence in how this is going to go for you, and I'm pumped for you. And thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. Good luck. Appreciate you taking the time, man. We'll be watching.
Yes, sir. Thanks, y'all.
All right, that was Max, Duggan, Jordan. I think we both just looked at each other after that interview. We're like, "That's a fucking dude right there."
Especially the 2-minute drill. It's like,
that's a dude. You know what I always like to hear when guys talk about their 2-minute drills on here. There's some guys that will go and it'll just be strictly football, right? In high school, I started and then the job and I got recruited. But I love it when guys, like when you ask them about their story, and I like how we don't preface it too, because I want to know what matters to them.
yeah,
Like when guys start off their story, like with their family and their background and the things that mean the most to them, like I connect with those people so much more. I think like Max talking about his 2 adopted siblings from South Korea and his heart issues and all this that I didn't know about. Maybe I should have done my research better, but I mean, what a guy. It just makes me want to root for him even more. I'm excited to meet him when you go out and train him this offseason too.
yeah. I think there's like something too to small town folks, but like, I don't know. I mean, because when I was in college, I went to school in El Paso, but no one on the team was from El Paso. So everyone was from all over Texas. So like in the off seasons, I'd go to Giddings, Texas. I'd go to Bellevue, Texas. You know what I mean? These like, I would go to Austin too, but like I go to these random small towns and kick it with my buddies and hang out with the family and all that. And it's like, I just feel like small town people, definitely the gossip thing's different, right? Everyone's in everybody's shit. But like at the same time, it kind of puts you in a position where you can't be full of shit because everybody knows everything about you, right? So you can't put on a front and pretend to be this thing. I'm not even talking about the quarterback. I'm just talking about like the people. You can't put on this whole front because everybody knows everything about everybody. And so there's negatives on the gossip, that's what people complain about in small towns from my experience. But on the other side of it, it kind of makes you incapable of being full of shit. That's the vibe I get from him. Like there's just like no bullshit. He's just a real one, and we'll see where his career goes. We'll see what happens here or there, but the undeniable one, and you've been around every guy I've been bringing through here, and your radar goes off right away. And it's like this guy, Max, like he's incapable of bullshit. He's a real one.
It's a real one. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it, man. This is going to be a great.
It's gonna be a great college football playoff, dude.
Like, I mean, I still don't know if anyone can fuck with Georgia, but
I don't think they can, but like, I can't wait for this other game. But if anybody I don't know, but Ohio State can score. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, I'm glad it's Georgia Ohio State to start. That is,
it's the best setup because
this is the best.
CJ could totally throw 6 touchdowns.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
I
to
agree.
a bunch of superstars.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So, yeah, it's be
All
great.
right. Great episode. Episode 19. Season 1's almost up. We're going through we're going to go through the Super Bowl. So we got probably, 5 or 6 more episodes for you guys, season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then season 2 is going to bring a lot of new stuff, a lot of different types of interviews.
We got some different shit going on now.
We've been trying to plot it out for a while. So we're excited shit to you guys.
Well, we always end though with a little moment of gratitude. Kyle, what are you grateful for right now, man?
I feel like I said this the last time, but I'm grateful for Christmas, man. I love
Right, you can be extra grateful for Christmas.
I'm going to be grateful for Christmas until after Christmas, but Christmas is the best, man. I love the holidays. You probably saw it on my Instagram. The team allowed us to like do our Christmas photos on the field this year, and they put up on like the big screen, like Merry Christmas from Kyle, Summer, and Duke, my dog. And we had our dog just running sprints on the field out there. Like, this has been the best organization from like a family standpoint. Like, they're great with the wives and fiancés and girlfriends. Like, they're great with the family. Like, this has been just an awesome experience from that perspective. But Christmas is
awesome.
Christmas.
I agree.
What about you?
Dude, I'm grateful for. I had to put. You know this, Kyle. No one else knows this. I had to put my dog down the other day. I had my dog for almost 16 years.
Oh,
I was 22 years old when I got her. Had no idea. I was living with my in-laws. Had just gotten. And Dottie and I were talking about all the different places that have been home. And the reality is, when you look back, like, she was home, right? Because that was extended stay motels. That was apartments. That was condos. That was houses. That was my brother's house. That was, you know what I mean? And so I'm just grateful. We have no regrets. Peter girl, little pug. I haven't posted about it. I don't want to get emotional. I'm just going to end this. But like, I'm super grateful for this just epic dog. And it's so funny. I did a card deal and I got like a $30,000 signing bonus as a late 6th round pick. I probably did like another 20 in card deals. So coming out of college, I had like 50 grand, but hold up. I paid marketing and I paid the commission on it. And then I paid taxes. So when I bought, I had like $17,000 or something like that in my bank account to my name. Right. And by the way, like, no, I was on a team. I got cut. Then 17 grand. And I bought her for 1,500. So basically 10% of my net worth was invested in a dog. And it was the best investment ever. So I'm just super grateful for my dog. And that's why I'm not balling right now. But yeah, heavy couple of days around here, but for my dog PETA. So if you're watching this, take a second, think about what you're grateful for. Lots to be grateful for right now this time of year. And we will be back next week. A little special episode 20. And thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, please like, please subscribe, and please turn notifications on. And you can follow us on social as well. I'm Jordan Palmer. He's Kyle Allen. We're on The Room with Kyle and Jordan and all that other stuff. Amazon, or not Amazon, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. So thank you for tuning in. Big guest next week. One of the most famous people in football next week.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. One of the most famous people in football.
Peace.